All right, Chess Smith, welcome. We are back at Album Surfboards.
Live in person, a live show. Should we invite guests to come in and watch when we film live? Should we do a Ain't That Swell kind of situation?
Oh, yeah. What's it called? Like when surgeons are doing the thing for the students, it's like a gallery type?
Yes, it is. I think specifically and precisely called a gallery.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
We need, though, like the up top, because I think the up top viewing situation lends more gravitas. Like we are dissecting surfing down here.
I want them to be able to really pick apart what we're doing.
Exactly.
That gives them a better vantage point.
Yep, it's true.
So we're at Album Surfboards, and I think this used to be, it used to be a yoga studio. And so they used this room for like childcare.
Okay.
So the kids could be in here and the moms could be doing yoga out there, but see through the windows at the kids. But prior to that, it was Jed Knowles' retail space, and then this was a shaping bay so that people could kind of fishbowl look at him do his work.
So we are part of a legendary history of children watching their mothers do yoga and people watching legendary Knoll shapeboards.
And now legendary Album Surfboards.
Yeah. Man, this space.
I know. It's been through a lot in the last 8 years, I'd say. My mom was a super early, well, I guess not that early, but early adopter for yoga.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, I was that kid watching my mom through the beaded doorway. You know, when people used to put beads in the doorway instead of a door? We'd go to some person's house in Long Beach, and the adults would do yoga in one room, and my brother and I would go in the other room and watch movies. I remember they had the Never Ending Story on VHS, and then peek through the beads and everybody's in there doing yoga.
Are you sure it was yoga?
Yeah.
It sounds
creepy. Well, when the kids were there, it was yoga. I can't attest to what those adults were doing. If they were into yoga back in the mid to late 80s, then they could have been into other stuff too.
Yeah.
I said early adopter, but then I realized yoga is ancient, right?
Sure, but the version that came to America, the version we have now in America, the health and wellness studio version of yoga, I think you could argue is brand new, relatively.
I would argue it might have landed right around that time I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Your mom, wonder what else she was onto. Was she buying Apple stock?
I wish. She was rock climbing. She was teaching rock climbing.
Okay. Wow. Did you ever get into rock climbing?
No. I tried. I actually got a gym pass for it and went once.
Did you buy the shoes and whatnot?
I did buy the shoes too.
What turned you off of rock climbing?
The amount of time that it takes.
It's time intensive.
There's a studio on my drive home from work, to and from work, and I'm like, you know what? I could just pull off the freeway and spend 20 or 30 minutes. And because I was trying to figure out an alternative to, if I'm surfing requires, let's say 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then going to the gym, I don't really like the idea of just working out for the sake of working out. So I needed something that would allow me to get some weightlifting kind of type of exercise, some cardio in, and be quick. And that seemed, and it still is, the perfect solution. But even still, if it's 4 o'clock and I'm driving home and I just want to see the kid and I want to start dinner, that extra 30 minutes pulling off to climb, it's a little too much of a commitment for me.
I mean,
unless it was as thrilling as surfing, and I didn't get to the point where it was, you know.
The aesthetic of rock climbing is always troublesome to me. Like, ideally, it's pretty epic, right? It's man versus nature.
Right.
It's exactly what the WSL should be. But there's something fluorescent-y and like ropey. There's like too much stuff, too much gear.
That's true.
Free Solo he made it look pretty good.
So that's the difference between a wave pool and Waimea Bay.
Yeah.
You know?
Free Solo.
And so it's like, do I want to pull off and go in the wave pool with the other wave pool kooks?
Yeah.
And there is that element of like meat market thing that the gym also has that applies in the rock gym.
Is there like the show off bros who are like out swinging with one arm like Sylvester Stallone?
Totally.
What was that movie? The Sly Stallone? Cliffhanger, yeah.
Yeah. There is that. So I got a peek into the culture.
Yep.
And I just got kind of, it all overwhelmed me.
If somebody said, David Lee, Scales, there is a need for a podcast in rock climbing, we're going to pay you double, triple. Name your price to launch the rock climbing whole network, but this is your world moving forward. We're going to make it like attractive enough for you to leave surfing behind entirely. You're not going to have any more time. You're basically sell all your boards, welcome to rock climbing. Would you take it?
No. 3 times the price? No. 10 times?
Yeah.
I'm in.
You're a rock climber.
I'm a rock climber from that point forward. At this point, I need to make responsible family decisions. If I did do it, I would do it with your approach that you take with Beach Grit sometimes, which is you're going to follow me on my learning journey.
Yeah.
That would be the only way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm starting at the beginning, and so let's have that conversation. Let's try to learn what's what. Let's interview those people and come along for the ride.
And build from there.
Yeah, I'm not an expert.
Fun. Well, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, so we'll see if there's any rock climbing brands out there that are interested in this idea that we just came up with.
At 10x.
Yeah. So last week we kicked off with drummer Dave.
Sure did.
Somber kind of start to the show, but then ended up becoming really enjoyable and a nice reflection. Lots of positive feedback about drummer Dave, of course. I've got another somber moment to start on today.
Great.
Maybe, maybe not.
Uh-oh.
This is okay. When you're young, you have these idealized kind of concepts of life that you want to stick to.
Yep.
I'm not going to have sex till marriage or whatever it happens to be. Alcohol is bad. I'm righteous, that sort of stuff, right? Then you get older and real world kind of practicalities start filtering in.
Morality degrades.
Usually that's the way it goes, right? But you find yourself throughout that journey of being like butting up against your young childhood ideals.
Yes.
And you're weighing them against one another. And sometimes they become battles. And you're like, shoot, am I going to pick this battle? Am I going to fight this battle? Or am I just going to give in? Well, I didn't know I was fighting a battle for the last, I don't know, time that you and I have been associated, maybe the last few years. And I am now joining elite ranks of the morally corrupt, I suppose, because...
Oh, yes.
I'm wearing the shirt.
Boom. For those listening at home who cannot see on YouTube, the shirt says, Kelly Slater, user not found.
Kelly Slater has blocked me on Instagram.
When did this happen?
I don't know, but I just found it a couple of days ago.
I mean, walk me through your feelings.
This is exactly what I felt. I was like,
walk me through your feelings.
This is somebody who I've idolized, from my youth. This is the best surfer in the world. He's smart. He's a great spokesperson for the sport, all of these things, right? So when I was young, I was just thinking, man, if I ever had any opportunity to interact with Kelly Slater, that would be the greatest thing in the world, right? Sure. And then, of course, I get older and I start recognizing that, he has foibles just like any other human being.
He's a human.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't idolize anybody in the way that I did when I was young. And so I have met Kelly Slater, and he kind of indicated that he wasn't a fan of mine, and I was totally okay with that at that time. A couple of years ago, I was like, who cares? I would love to interview him for the podcast and all of that still, but I certainly don't need to be friends with him. No. And there's no version where we really end up becoming best friends. Even if we had a nice interview together, it's not like we just run in entirely different lives, and he's around, whatever. So I've given up all of that. But when I could not find him on Instagram. So the thing is, a couple of people have sent me his posts like, Hey, check this out for this reason. But it says users not found, contents unavailable, kind of a thing.
Exactly what your shirt says.
Exactly. So then I learned at some point, when you go to block somebody, it says, do you want us to also block them from all other accounts that they're associated with?
Yes.
And you can say yes to that. So I'm blocked on my personal account. So I'll go over to Surf Splendor's account. Blocked there too. Go over to other accounts that I manage, blocked there too. Just fully blocked across the board. So then I text Lauren and I'm like, hey, just real quick, can you see if Kelly Slater's available on your Instagram? Because maybe he just deleted his whole thing, right? She's like, yeah, he's available. Here's a screenshot of everything. I'm like, dang it, mother effer.
Blocked.
So now I'm conflicted where I'm like, do I feel sad that I've offended him so much so that he doesn't ever want to, not that we would ever be friends, but he definitely doesn't want to be friends now, right? Or do I feel a little twinge of pride in that he cares enough? Like he knows who I am enough to care enough. And then I realize I'm just joining a long, illustrious ranks of our listeners who have, like, I just left a crappy comment on his Instagram and he blocked me,
I'm telling you, all it is and all Kelly's blocking for as great a person, or I don't know if he's a great person, let's assume Kelly's a great person. We know that Kelly is a phenomenal surfer, right?
Yes.
We know certain things about him. We know he's a competitive beast. We know many things. Kelly's blocking people, to me, belies such insecurity and dumbness as to it's you're getting blocked by Kelly is just Kelly being a dumbass. Like, that's what Kelly is at the end of the day, is a dumbass. And that's just unfortunate. Kelly, when you hear this, me calling you a dumbass, look in the mirror and think, I literally am a dumbass. I go and block people on Instagram who have somehow offended me. I'm out there perpetually kind of on the front lines, or not on the front lines, but at least on the front lines of social media, preaching about how cancel culture is crap, right?
Controversial topics.
Controversial topics, like throwing stuff out there. Meanwhile, anybody who disagrees with you busily or even vaguely disagrees with you or even might someday disagree with you, you're there busily blocking them. Like, the hypocrisy there is everybody's a hypocrite, right? I say things and do the exact opposite. I make hypocritical choices every day.
Yep.
On the majors, like this one, I do not. I go sling whatever I want. I never block. I never delete a comment. If somebody, like, whatever, like the comments on I use Instagram less and less these days. It interests me less and less, I suppose, which is a bummer because it shouldn't, but whatever. It does. People will leave nasty comments now regularly, right? I never once delete any one of them. I read them and I think, boom, there you go.
Well, yeah, the reason why I do the same thing is it's more effort to go and block them than the bothersomeness of the comment itself. I see the comment, I read it, I water off the duck's back and then move on. To go and click a couple of extra buttons would be too much effort. I don't care.
Or the recognition that we sit here and voice opinions all the time, right? People may agree or disagree. Somebody has an opinion about something I did. I may agree or disagree. It may be correct. It may be totally out of left field. That's what I do. That's what this person does. That's fine. Like, I feel I can say in terms of being that kind of hypocrite. So Kelly's hypocrisy at that level is so great as to, again, I think, hint at just his dumbass narcissism, right?
Yeah.
Like, he is a dumbass narcissist.
I have a different approach slightly, or a different thought on it. I think that sometimes you just try to cut out the negativity in your life, and you're just like, that's a negative comment. I don't want to see it. Or maybe this person's a multiple time offender, so I just don't want to see it. I just want positivity in my life. I think it could be that simple, but the problem with that is there's a never ending list of negative commenters on social media. So if you are going to try to eradicate them all, you're just going to be clicking buttons all day, every day.
And or Kelly is get off social media. If the commentary is hurting your feelings, then hurting your feelings enough to silence somebody. That's the thing too, is I wonder how Kelly uses it, right? The cudgel of blocking is he's a open and honest user of it, right? Like, he'll regularly say to people in the comments, like, where I think he thinks that his blocking, him wielding that power, again, is a dumbass move. He is a dumbass because if I care,
it's ineffective.
And I could get to you 1,000 different ways, Kelly. Like, I can look at all your content. I can read everything. I can make burner accounts. It takes me less time probably to make a burner Instagram account than it would for Kelly Slater to go in and block that burner Instagram account. So again, if he thinks he's being like he's wielding some kind of power, dumbass.
Yeah.
Kelly, stop being a dumbass.
Yeah. Well, in light of all of that, I'm still sad that I can't see his content.
Well,
I want to see his content.
I'll tell you what.
I know how to do it.
Set up an Instagram account with a different email, and there you go.
Yeah. No, I know exactly. I don't care that much, but I do want to.
Because that's the beauty about being blocked by Kelly Slater. Part of the beauty is that I'll get screenshot emails.
This morning I did.
Yeah, exactly. If anything goes on, thank you. I have perpetual gratitude towards our listeners. One of the many reasons is for constant updates on what Kelly Slater's doing when I need to know.
Yeah. Well, in the last 24 hours, I got 3 or 4 DMs commenting on him wearing tube socks, like the ones that go up to your calves with shoes. And, but I couldn't look at the post. So I was like, oh, whatever. I guess Kelly's wearing tube socks. Who cares? You know? And then this morning, somebody actually sent it to me and I go, yeah, I'm blocked. I can't see it. And they go, screen video grab.
Yep.
And they sent it. But they weren't commenting on the tube socks. What they were commenting on was Kelly's doing a full breakdown of his quiver and his fins, you know, his branded fins that he has now.
Endorphins, I think is what they're called.
They are, yeah. And they're like, you know, it feels like while he's not winning events, there's more and more of this content of him promoting his brands, which feels like a retirement move.
Yeah.
It feels like I see the writing on the wall. I'm not focusing on winning events, but I am focusing on telling you about my latest product. Go to the store and buy it right now.
Yep.
And so there's, you know, a 2-minute video of him discussing these things in preparation for retirement, essentially, is what the person was saying.
Is your belief, is Kelly Slater going to retire on his own? I mean, he'll claim it's his own.
Well, this is part of the show's notes. In fact, we've got a retirement. We might as well just throw a retirement party at this point for a number of people on today's show. I should have brought booze.
Let's do it.
How many surfers retire after getting put out to pasture is the question. Owen Wright is the news this week, right? Owen makes a big post and he's like, I just want to let everybody know I'm surfing as the Rip Curl wild card at the Bells event, but this will be my last time surfing in an event. Or I'm not retiring entirely, but I'm retiring from big detrimental waves because I've had this brain injury.
I mean, Owens...
But I'm like, dude, you got bumped off tour last year.
That's called retirement as far as I'm concerned.
Remember when Ace Buchan did this to us?
Yeah.
Remember when Julian Wilson did this to us?
Yeah.
Like, you can't be relegated to the sidelines for a full year and then announce, hey guys, I'm making the decision to, you can't fire me, I quit.
Without, like, as far as I know, he wasn't like surfing Challenger Series or QS events. He was making no concerted effort to get back on tour, right? No. And so he had quit, or he was put out to pasture, forced to quit, and now coming back saying, doing it on my terms. I'm going out the way I wanted to go out. The last
and I'm guessing with the 17th at Bells, by the way.
I mean, 17th if he's lucky. I mean, this is the thing, though. I wrote on Beach Grit, if I was a wild card coming up against Owen Wright, I'd be pretty bummed not because I wrote in the story that Owen is revenge crazed, wanting to go and take scalps with him into the pasture. No, I don't think that. But I think especially in the first round, his scores are going to be so juiced. Like nobody's going to, right? You hear what I'm saying? Nobody is Rip Curl. It's a Rip Curl event. This is Rip Curl Surfer. This is his very publicly stated last hurrah. There's absolutely no way they're sending him to the elimination round to eliminate him, right? He will get the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying it'll be...
Yeah, that's what it is. Benefit of the doubt.
It'll get the benefit of the doubt. And we're talking the second to last event before the cut line. So as the wild card, he's going to be coming up against someone who is below the cut line right now, who needs that result, right? That person is basically a sacrificial lamb. That's what I'm saying.
Yikes.
Whoever that is gone.
Yikes.
Right? It's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Man, we talk about how the WSL just makes rules. Every year they make new rules to kind of accommodate their own best interest, you know, but they're certainly not in the best interest of the athletes or anything else. So this week, somebody, Stab Magazine interviewed Jessie Miley Dyer about potentially Kelly Slater and Stephanie Gilmore getting cut. And the headline that they wrote that Michael Ciaramella wrote was, you can be eliminated and still win a world title this year. You can be eliminated in the midseason cut and still win a world title. And the example they gave was Stephanie Gilmore. If Stephanie Gilmore doesn't make the cut, guaranteed the WSL is going to give her wild cards throughout the rest of the season, like they did to Sally Fitzgibbons last year, or whatever year that was. And she can then go on to win a bunch of events and then win a world title. So anyways, that was the story. A listener chimed in and he goes, does Jessie not know that wild cards points don't accrue towards the rankings?
They don't, do they not?
Well, I was like, wow, this is a pretty great story. If Jessie doesn't know the rules.
Is that true?
I got to the bottom of it.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't know. I can't go on air and like say this if this listener is wrong,
Yes.
right? So I Google it, and it pulls up the rule book, the WSL rule book. I'm going to read you what the rule book says. Let me find it. In short, the listener is wrong, but they were almost right.
Yeah.
The rule book says wild cards subject to rule for the regular CT season up to the mid-season cut. Wild cards will receive CT ranking points before the cut. After the mid-season cut, CT events after the mid-season cut for ranking points in the available WSL wildcard slots at the WSL's discretion will be able to award points to a former world champ or WSL Final Five competitor.
So at the so it's basically geared to get Stephanie and or Kelly and or.
So before the cut, they do get points. After the cut, they do not get points
unless you
are a former world champ or a former top 5 competitor.
I mean,
that is what the rules state.
Talk about
and I feel like they added that last part like last year or something.
I mean, they could have added it 2 weeks ago, knowing that Kelly was below the cut line.
Exactly.
Like, and is Steph below the cut line?
Yes.
Yeah. So knowing
she's farther below the cut line than Kelly.
Yeah. So knowing that Kelly and Steph are below the cut line, let's throw this caveat in. Let's get it signed off by whatever fake union the Surfers have, and off we go again.
Yes.
I mean, that is the most arbitrarily silly rule.
Yes.
Like if you're gonna have a rule, have it be a rule, right? If you're gonna make the midseason cut for drama, then it's not a cake and eat it too situation, right? If Kelly going away, that's going to be your spike. And then Kelly not being in the rest of the tour, that's what you got to deal with, right? But that's what made, like, you erode every bit of drama you tried to put in there, that you manufactured drama with the midseason cut to begin with, right? Yeah. Like, and I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of the drama, right? It gives you something to look for midseason. It's all of that. And kudos WSL, right? I will praise when I see fit, but
it has no teeth.
But to undermine it by saying, okay, Kelly got cut, but he's wild card, and since he is a past champion, if he does, and less likely with him, but with Steph, it'd be very likely. Imagine, I mean, I keep waiting. I've waited for 2 years for the finals day scenario that they built, both the midseason cut and the finals day, but particularly the finals day scenario, to implode basically professional surfing, which could very well happen this year, both if Stephanie gets cut, comes back and wins it, B, if either Jack or Joao are so far ahead, are like triple via charging, via all-around surfing, and then, but no beaten Phillip at Trestles.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know how, if you're the World Surf League, they're going to. I know, obviously, it's Wall of Positive Noise will go like, this is it. But if you got Philippe beating somebody when he's lapped twice in points at Trestles, and then you have Steph coming back from the dead to win, I don't know what you say.
Well, they will spin it as this is the greatest story of all time.
Yeah, of course they will.
That's the move. But it's like, no, you guys, the move that you were giving us before, the story you were giving us before is the mid-season cut is so drama, but you just kicked the teeth out of that drama on the back end because it serves you better.
Well, and really, truly kicking the teeth out of it, but also like, this is the thing. There's been a lot of talk, Jessie Miley Dyer, chief of sport talk, like she's out on the surf media interview trail, right?
Yeah.
So gave a interview to the Inertia, gave an interview to Stab. I was thinking this morning when the interview to Stab was a couple days ago, yesterday, whatever. I was thinking, man, sticking collaborationist surf media, both, I mean, the Inertia, you expect nothing better from them, but Stab, like giving the WSL at this point a platform to spew fake garbage is totally, I think, like, I guess somebody could look at me and say, you asshole, you just sit and, throw mud, but then now at this point, and did get totally, snowed by Logan a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And now, are all high and mighty. I would not have Jessie Miley Dyer talk to Beach Grit about her garbage unless I suppose I'd have her do it.
Accountable.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
hold her accountable to everything, saying,
Yeah.
you always talk about how this is for the surfers. Look, you're actively cutting surfers all the time. It's great. Like, I don't care. I like less surfers, but you are perpetually talking out of both sides of your mouth, talking about the product of surfing, right?
Yeah.
About how her Hawaii thing, about how, so now Haleiwa, right? Used to be a Challenger Series event. Now it's kicked to the qualifying series, and not just any qualifying series, a 1,000, like the shittest of qualifying series events. But we're doing that because it's good for Hawaiians. It gives more Hawaiians a chance to compete, because we're also cutting the number of people at a contest from 96 to 80 or whatever it is, right? So it's straight, perpetual, both sides of mouth. We're helping everybody by cutting everybody, and that helps everybody, and it's more people get to come up because we're lessening everything. And like, it's utter gobbledygook nonsense.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jessie Miley Dyer, I don't think she was a pro surfer at some point, whatever. I don't know if she went to college, but she has gone to the college of Eric Logan. She talks such synergies and surfing as a product as to be utterly embarrassing.
It really is. Yeah. Lost my train of thought when I was when I was following you along.
Sorry, that was
No, it's okay. It was a good rant. I'll come back to whatever I was thinking. In regards to retirements, though.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, Stephanie Gilmore, and potentially getting blocked. Jonah Hill, I thought I got blocked by as well.
Yeah.
Because I was like, somebody sent me a photo of him wearing Stephanie Gilmore's jersey, like a paparazzi photo.
Yep.
He's down in El Salvador surfing, and he's wearing Stephanie Gilmore's jersey while he's surfing. I'm like, I haven't seen anything from Jonah Hill for a while, so I went and searched for him.
He deleted his account.
I know he did. So then I Googled it. I'm like, Jonah Hill's Instagram deleted because he didn't want to deal with any of the drama. Or
Jonah Hill did the smart thing.
Yeah.
If you're like, don't like it, get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, back to retirement parties, right?
Yes.
So Owen Wright, he's officially out after Bells. Globe quietly retires. Did you see this story?
I sure did, but it made me think when the last time I saw a Globe tee or Globe hoodie or Globe in the wild, a Globe piece of apparel in the wild.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Globe is still in business. They're going to go back and focus on shoes, which is how they entered the space. But they did make clothing for a long time.
They did.
Taj Burrow is on their team. Dion Agius is on their team.
Dion, remember the Dion launch? When Dion was like the hottest surfer, I think, at that moment.
Yeah.
And Globe getting him was a big coup. I remember the red and black and white, ads, splashy.
Well, and really well done. Like in terms of their design, contribution to the clothing space, in terms of design, their clothes were cooler than anybody else's.
Way hard to find always, though.
Yeah, totally. And that made them even cooler.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. So the story is that they've never really focused on direct-to-consumer sales. They've really relied on retail.
Mm-hmm.
And retail is now kind of owned by conglomerates, by board riders, essentially, who owns, Quicksilver stores, Billabong stores, all that sort of stuff. And Globe had space in a lot of those stores, but now those brands are really focusing on their own brands and kind of elbowing Globe out. So Globe doesn't have really a place to sell their clothing anymore. So they're like, you know what, let's scale back. Let's focus on shoes, which means we don't need Taj on the team anymore. It means we don't need Dion on the team anymore. Maybe they'll get shoe deals, but they're not going to have the head to toe anymore. So bummer, because Globe not only made great clothes, they made some phenomenal films, surf films.
The best. I mean, what is this? I suppose this is the end of the Globe, the Joji surf film.
Apparently.
Or as it connects to Globe.
Yeah, so that's kind of a bummer. But at the same time, Taj, that ran its course. Yeah. Taj, speaking of retired, Taj has been retired for a long time. Years. Dion Agius also, I'm sure he's surfing great still. Not in the spotlight anymore.
I mean, Dion's, do you follow Dion on Instagram?
Yeah, but I don't get fed his stuff. I feel like he's not posting that much.
I think he doesn't, but every glimpse I see, Dion is living his best life.
Absolutely.
In Tasmania, has like a beautiful piece of property down there.
He Airbnbs a property out, I think.
Yep,
That's what I saw at some point.
I think he sure does. Yeah, so if you're looking for a trip to Tassie, check out Dion Agius on Instagram.
Beautifully designed as well, that
impeccable.
House. So anyways, this isn't a huge surprise for Globe, but it is. Yeah. While we're celebrating retirements.
Globe, we really should have brought what do you drink at a retirement party? I think whiskey.
I think he just gets smashed, right? Whatever it is, he double up.
Yeah, because I think it's like a dirge to it. So it's not like a
Champagne,
champagne celebratory. I feel it's like a Irish wake we could have had in here.
Yeah. That's
Should
right.
have.
We really should have.
It's St. Patty's Day in the rear view. We should have.
Man, I made the best corned beef and cabbage that I've ever had in my life.
Ooh, it's so good.
I mean, I made one last year and it was tough. And I'm like, man, I botched this. I've had it good elsewhere. This time, the best I've ever had.
Was it
Not the best
flaky?
I've ever made. Yes.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Just
nice.
flaked apart.
When you eat Irish food that one day of year, do you think I should eat Irish food more often?
Yes.
I should get Irish food into my diet more.
Yeah. And then my wife's like, yeah, you say that every year.
Yeah, and then
And
you
then
don't.
you never do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
this
maybe this
year.
year. I remembered what I was going to say about Jessie Miley Dyer when I lost my thought was, yeah, shame on Stab for kind of giving her a platform to continue to spew her rhetoric. However, their comment section called it like it is. And then she posted on Instagram like, hey, Stab, thanks for the interview. Her comment section on her own Instagram told her like it is.
I noticed that. I noticed that, and credit where credit's due. Once again, I didn't see, or when I looked at least, I did not see Jessie Miley deleting comments.
Yeah, I saw they were all negative and they were all still there.
And I will say also, Jessie Miley Dyer has never blocked me on Instagram.
Right.
So I will tip my cap, Jessie Miley.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Like
And
we
bravo.
we can be opposed ideologically. This is
Yeah.
all an ideological opposition, right?
Totally.
Again, and I think it probably gets, and I'm sure that she probably feels personal about it, right? Like there's no
Maybe.
way she's reaching out to Beach Grit to, she wants to go to Surf Media. Beach Grit is we're like twice as big as Stab and the Inertia combined. So if you actually want to get your message out, but of course we're oppositional in tone, understand why she's not reaching out, but also I would hope that she knows, I doubt that she does, but that it's not personal, right? This is an ideological disagreement that we're having.
Yeah. I don't know if she even cares whether it's personal or not.
I mean, the fact that she hasn't blocked me on
Yeah.
Instagram makes me think that she's, copping it and riding above, unlike one Kelly Slater.
Well, if you specifically are taking a certain tone, playing a certain part because it serves a role in surf community, but it's not your personal view or anything like that, she could very well be doing the same. She could very well just be playing her part. She's a mouthpiece for this brand
Product. For the
yeah,
product.
exactly. But it's not her personal view.
Yeah.
And her kind of canceling Bethany Hamilton or whatever, it's like not her personal view. It's the corporation's view that she's speaking for.
I noticed, again, we've touched on this a few times, but on her Instagram, like she had the Stab, thanks for Stab for taking the time or whatever thing. And then right after that, it was the Come Hear Me Speak at whatever, like some new conference thing.
In Florida.
Yeah, where she is on the straight up, like, conference speaky
Yeah, totally.
thing. Like, so, man, when is her TED Talk going to come out?
They let anybody do those now. It
Exactly.
used to be where it was a really select people.
Yep.
Now it's just like, no, Tallahassee, Florida,
Yeah, but when is Jessie's TED Talk? Come listen to my TED Talk.
within the next 6 months.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's coming.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll do a whole episode on it.
Great.
So Kelly's below the cut line, potential retirement. You know who else is below that cut line? Kanoa.
Kanoa and Kalohe is the
Kaloa's
deepest.
way down there.
Like, what does Kalohe have to do? Do you
I
think?
don't.
Does he got to get
know.
2 quarters basically?
Sure.
Let's say. I mean, he's got to definitely get a quarter.
Yeah.
He's got to do well.
The interesting thing is, could Kalohe, if he gets eliminated, could he win on the Challenger Series?
Maybe. I mean,
Bolito.
he won more NSSAs than I think anyone.
But that series now, there's, really good surfers
There's
that
good
surf those crappy waves. Like Aracera. Can he muster the courage to surf wonky Aracera? Could he muster the courage at Bolito? Could he, Huntington Beach?
I mean, the question I would have would, like, where's the competitive fire? Like, it seems like you have gotten worse, Kalohe, love you, but gotten worse competitively year on year.
Yeah.
Where either your strategy is way wrong, your headspace is way wrong, because I think nobody still doubts his ability as a surfer, right?
Right.
Kalohe would you say he has top 5 talent?
I used to think so.
He definitely has top 10 talent.
The fundamentals are all there. It's just it's 70 or 80% of Felipe.
Yeah, Sure. But I mean, he in any case has top 10 talent. He could be
Top 10, sure.
a mainstay on the world tour based on talent alone. So something is wrong either strategically or mentally.
Yes.
And so does he have the energy or care to go fix that, right?
To go grovel at Huntington, is what it comes down to through 98 people or whatever it is, 96 people. I forget what the number is at this point.
I mean, they just dropped it. I read it's 96 to 80, I think.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah. So
it's a lot of
do you
people.
want to, yeah, exactly. And I think he gets seeded in maybe a little bit higher, but maybe they'll make a new rule for him. I mean, you know what? Add the Chloe caveat.
If your dad was a professional surfer on tour in the 80s, then you also get grandfathered.
Completely.
Yep.
Yeah. I've got a call from Nick Bravante, who was, I don't know if you remember last year's Spotify rap list. He had listened to more minutes of this show than we published somehow.
Yes. I remember.
It was like he had listened to some episodes more than once. So I've got his call, and then I've also got Tools to Live By, brought to you by Veyer. Where do you want to go first?
Let's go to Nick first.
Okay, Nick. Nick Bravante, great to have you back. Let's hear what you got to say.
David Lee, Chaz, Nick Bravante calling in from Silver Beach, New Jersey with a two-part call, I guess a little bit of a three-part call. Number one, rest in peace to drummer Dave. So sorry to hear the news. Great contributions over the years and even more. So now some post-hominous contributions. I don't know how to say that word. Maybe Chaz, you can help us out. Number one, to Madison and Wrightsville Beach. As another lifelong intermediate surfer, I have struggled with the pointy thruster. Started out surfing in the 90s on the pointy thruster. That did not work. Swung the pendulum far, far into the alternative hybrid hipster mid-length world. Those were not working out for winter steep surf in New Jersey, as I'm sure you get also in North Carolina. Was listening to The Grit and Surf Splendor, and was listening to a man named Maurice Cole. Loved what he had to say, loved the accent, the kind of old school Australian, everything about him. Started looking into his boards, and I've now ended up with a reverse V shorty and a reverse V step up. 6'8" step up, lots of foam. It's just under 40 liters. 6'4" reverse V shorty, kind of typical pointy thruster. Also just like 38 liters something. Great kind of board to get into the shortboard game. Love the step up in big, scary, thick wetsuit New Jersey waves. You can go check them out at Real Water Sports up in North Carolina, up the coast from you. They should have some boards there for you, and they are an awesome way to get a little high performance, make those steep drops. Love those boards. Shout out to Maurice. Thank you. Number two, David. I was going to let this slide, but it keeps coming back to me. Kissing your child on the lips. I don't know, man. I'm very far from having children myself. To me, kissing on the lips is a purely sexual, type of thing to do. I don't kiss anyone on the lips except for someone I am sexually involved with. Would you kiss your mom on the lips, your friends, your brother? Nobody else. Children get cheeks, can get foreheads. Keep the lips for your wife. That's it. Keep up the work. I hope I brought some people some enlightenment today. Thanks, boys.
Thank you, Nick Bravante. Chaz already stated it. Posthumous. And then, of course, we've got Maurice Cole boards, and kissing your kids on the lips always comes back.
I mean, I love when we really strike a nerve.
We did.
It's an important, and I feel it pitched sides in this one, right? I think it's not just, I sort of think this, but could go either way. Nope. People have staked far opposing camps.
That they certainly have. And the reason I wanted to play that is it obviously comes back up every single week. We get commentary about it. I don't even play all of them. But I realize this is the ultimate litmus for understanding so much about somebody through one question. I don't know if you're newly dating, you might ask people, like you're trying to ask them questions to learn as much as you can about them.
Yeah.
What are your views on abortion? Maybe would be one, you know,
Yeah.
and that's going to really tell you a lot about the person. This does even more so. This is like the ultimate question where somebody tries to navigate their way through how they feel about it. And they start highlighting all these things about their background and their worldviews and their political views and religion. And all of this comes into it. It's really telling.
It should be if you're out there on the market, dating around, drop this question in.
100%.
And I mean, you will know, because if you are not a mouth kisser and your prospective partner is, in terms of the mouth child kisser, of course, then there's going to be tension right there. You know,
Tells you all you need to know.
I mean, sit, cut and run.
Yeah.
And or, you know, if you want to dabble in mouth kissing yourself, child kissing, then, you know, it gives you something to think about. Like, because they're not going to change, right? It's one of these things, like everybody always says it, don't get involved with somebody thinking you're going to change them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You can change yourself. So if you're dating, say, just the perfect girl or guy, and they tell you that, yeah, I'm definitely or do kiss children on the lips, then yeah.
And you're opposed, you're not going to change them.
You're not going to change them. You can choose to change yourself.
They'll dig in their heels more if you try to change them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But you can think, okay, why am I not a child mouth kisser?
And maybe you have a kid and then you see, you just want it. You love that baby so much.
Yeah, that you
Maybe you'll change.
just kiss them right on the lips.
Yeah, but I agree with you. This is the perfect first date question.
Yep.
Partially because it's funny.
Totally.
So like in the date, you want to add a little bit of levity. Or if they don't think it's funny and they just get like, holy cow, I need to call CPS right now.
Then you know.
You need to ditch them anyways.
Yep.
They have no sense of humor.
Exactly.
So that gets to the bottom of that.
I definitely think that kissing kids on the lips, it will be funnier than what is your opinion on abortion?
Way funnier. Way funnier than that. So as you know, I think we do plant a lot of seeds here that really get to the bottom of things and have like really kind of widespread global interest and implication well outside the surf world. One of them was the shopping cart thing, where I presented to you, barrel or knob, returning a shopping cart. And to me, it was obvious you have to return a shopping cart because that is the polite human thing to do. And you were like, that's incorrect. Those employees, best moment of the day, the kid who's a bagger, the best moment of their day is getting outside of the store in the sunlight, maybe putting their ear pods in, listening to something, not interacting with customers. You push that cart as far as you can across the lot so that they get to spend more time in the sun, right? And I agreed with you. And then we had a bunch of feedback from listeners over the year or two saying, man, I tested this out, or I talked to somebody, and yes, you're right. They prefer to chase shopping carts.
Yes.
Check this out. Last week, we have a family group text. I've never presented this topic to anybody in the family at all. This only existed for me in our podcast world. Unsolicited, brother-in-law sends a text and says, hey, guess what? I confirmed it. I was talking to a kid at the grocery store today and confirmed he likes collecting shopping carts. And I thought to myself, did I ever have that conversation with him? No. Does he listen to the podcast? Heck no. This made it full circle from our podcast
Into big culture.
out into the real world, into broader culture, circled back into my text thread with the family.
Perfect.
How crazy is that?
But as it should have, right? It's a serious topic that we dealt with seriously. We posited the real truth. I just saw the other day, it's funny you bring this up, saw the shopping cart getter, AirPods in, a look of bliss on his face way out at the end of at the corner of the lot. And I just thought to myself then and there, yep, so right. It is like, yeah,
that's living
what
the
they
dream.
should be doing.
Living the dream.
He's got 5 extra break minutes.
Yeah. And so when that text came through, I thought, well, maybe this is part of meme culture. Maybe there's like memes that are about this. And no, I haven't seen it anywhere.
Nope.
It made the full circle.
Yep. Congrats to us.
I know. So I'm waiting for like 8 months from now for him to be talking about kissing babies on the lips.
I mean, for sure it's happening.
Yeah.
For sure. This one has that level of weight.
It really does. I mean, clearly because we get tons of feedback on it all the time. The other part of that call that I wanted to just touch on is his praise of Maurice Cole.
Maurice Cole can't be praised highly enough.
So totally. And what's great about Maurice is full of flaws.
Yeah.
Full of flaws. Wears them on his sleeve. Other people point him out all the time. He acknowledges that person's right. I burned that person in a deal one time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and so then I got to thinking, my best experiences with wine, I realized early on, had so much to do with sentiment more than, not sediment, sentiment
Yep.
more than like the technical quality of the wine, right? So if I had been to the winery and interacted with people there that were the owner, if there was a dog on the property that like was really cool and you got to spend some time with, I always reflect on those wines positively. If I encounter that wine in a grocery store later, I'm more inclined to buy it because I had such a good time at that winery. I don't even remember what the acid level was in the wine. You know what I mean? Like that's a technical detail that a sommelier will comment on or wine writers will comment on, but
You don't
almost
care.
has no bearing to me.
Yeah.
You know, because so then I was like, okay, well, Maurice, you cannot surf one of his boards. You cannot grab one of his boards without thinking about him as a human being and how he made you feel.
Yep.
Essentially is what it is.
Yep.
And that is the best thing he could do for his brand.
I mean, by far and away, because who knows what in our world is based on just our brain, right? On the way we're perceiving
There's
stuff.
no way to figure that out.
Zero way. And
Yeah.
so you drop into a wave on a Morris Cole board and draw that Tom Curran line, and there you go.
Yeah.
Like, boom.
And I agree with Nick Bravante. I got through kind of him being on the podcast, I ordered a board and I got a Maurice Cole reverse V Groveler.
Yeah.
So it's the reverse V, but it's the Groveler model. It's a little bit more beefy. So pointy thruster, but perfect for an aging dude who thinks that he could rip or something at one point. Freaking love that board.
Yeah.
That board is magic to me. And it was from day one. And it's because it's his, you know?
'Cause
It's like his, and
Mo Cole.
it might be more than sentiment. It could be actual mojo.
Yeah.
It could be like undefinable. He's such a gregarious dude and lovable dude that mojo finds its way into the foam and fiberglass,
How could it not?
finds its way into the ocean, finds its way into me, and I'm just having a good time.
Yep. Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you, Mo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And affected Nick Bravante too.
Yeah, Morris Cole, if you had a better logo, I know he loves his logo, that barefoot thing or whatever, but if you had a better logo, you would do better.
People also love it. So I think there's a lot of
Oh.
people that would say there could be no better logo. That
Yeah.
it's a teddy bear.
Teddy bear.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. The updated one
The
is the
updated
foot
one.
imprint.
I liked it. I love the teddy bear.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
foot imprint needs some work.
So the board that I got from him, he put the old teddy bear logo.
Great.
Because there was one that was like a cute, cuddly,
Yeah.
like plush teddy bear back when like Taj was first riding those boards. But prior to that, there was like a teddy bear that was a little bit more erratic. It had like frayed edges
Great.
and stuff. Yeah. So
Like
I've got that old look.
Great.
All right. Let's do tools.
Tools to live by.
Tools to live by. Brought to you by the ultimate tool that you can own.
Veyer watches.
A watch.
I mean,
a watch.
I tell you what, my father-in-law is in town. He was sitting on the couch the other day just staring at his Apple Watch for a long time, and I didn't want to ask him any questions about it. Don't want to tech talk. Don't like it. Sitting there, minding my own business, until he finally said to his wife, I think, okay, I finally got it to sync, right? I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Look down at my Veyer watch ticking away. It doesn't have to sync with anything. It is synced. It
That is
tells time.
ridiculous.
Yep, ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
Not to mention those things don't work for the CT surfers.
No.
Every single event this year, a surfer has
Disaster.
complained about it. Yeah. So you never need to worry about that with Veyer, especially if you have one of the automatics or the solar powered ones that you and I are wearing right now on our wrist. So Veyer is spelled V-A-E-R. Two dudes, surfers. They're based in Venice. They could not afford the watches that they wanted, and the watches they could afford, they didn't like. They didn't want them. So they're like, shoot, there's got to be a way to kind of manufacture something that is, durable, high quality materials, all that sort of stuff, and not break the bank. And so I think they've kind of relied on modern methods of direct to consumer with a website and all that. Basically, when you cut out all the middle people, the price is affordable, right, to the end consumer. And so that's what they've done. They do American assembly. They've got all the kind of classic designs that you know and love, from dive watches to field watches to dress watches. And they're durable, made out of great quality. And these two are solar powered, ocean ready.
Cannot speak highly enough of this Vaer watch. Been wearing it now for a few months, 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah.
Some amount of months. And time doesn't speed, doesn't slow. It's perfect.
Exactly. Never need to wind it because it's powered by the sun. So go out there, support local surfers as well, who are business owners, entrepreneurs, all that. So Vaer watches, VAER watches.com, promo code SURF15, SURF15. You will get 15% off, free USA shipping, easy returns, waterproof warranty. Boom. You know, the other functional and necessary tool that you need on a daily basis?
What?
A car. Here we go. Listener line.
I've got some topic or kind of a hodgepodge here, right, about cars for surfing. Number one, what is the ultimate kook car? Not what's on it, just when you see that car, that's a kook in the parking lot. What do you think about that? Number two, VW vans, the old school ones. Is that considered a kook or current? You know, the guy getting out could just be some douche, or the guy could be a real ripper. I don't know. And then number three, on a car, what stands out as this guy is a kook? Bunch of stickers, the surfboard on the wrong way. That's really the big one for me. Is there anything that really stands out that says that guy's a kook, and I can tell by something that's on his car, something about his car? Thanks.
3 great questions right there, David Lee Scales.
I know. I think the number one identifier for what is on the car that identifies them as a kook?
Surfrex.
Wavestorm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's dig in here a little bit.
Yeah.
The car I see, and this is not true, by the way, that this is a kook, but I see it a lot and think of it a lot, is the Sprinter van, right? I know that generally that person is not a kook. What that person is a semi-ripping dad of kids who he's pushing in the lineup who are also kind of semi-ripping, right? That is probably typical. So I need to not think that Sprinter, I don't like it, but I need to not think that Sprinter vans belong to kooks anymore, because that is arguably
It's
not
just cliche.
True. It's cliche.
And it's such a San Diego thing.
Yeah.
That's the other detail
Yeah.
here. There's a lot of listeners around the world who are like,
Sprinter van.
Sprinter van, what is that?
Yeah, okay.
But San Diego, that's a huge, and so you are identifying them as just as the ultimate cliche.
Yes.
But they're not necessarily.
They're not
kook.
necessarily cooks,
Yeah.
so I need to do more work myself, which I think, to his second point, if I see somebody in a really geared up Volkswagen van, like a Volkswagen bus, properly maintained cherry Volkswagen bus, then I think this guy surfing is his lifestyle, and he probably sucks.
Okay, I would go a step further. I don't think they even surf.
Yeah.
I've certainly never seen a ripper, like somebody absolutely ripping in one of those
Yes.
Volkswagen buses. I'd say that if they roll up to the beach in a Volkswagen bus, there's an 80% chance they don't even paddle out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're there just to
lifestyle.
survey the scene, to have a cup of coffee, to criticize whoever just got that set wave. But there is an 80% chance that they don't even paddle out. If you see one on the freeway, there's a 95% chance that they haven't surfed in 5 years.
For sure.
You know,
What about a Tesla, the SUV one with the gull wing doors?
what about it?
I feel like that is like the person who gets the Tesla SUV with the gull wing doors, and listeners, please tell me I'm wrong. It seems like a flat out kooky move. It seems like there's a lot. I know you're into, your electric car or whatever, but it seems like there's a lot better options for you there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a cool car. You know, that it's like, I think if they've achieved that level of status and they want a cool car, that's the car they get.
But it's not cool. I really look at that thing and it looks like a slug. and it has its gull wing doors, which I love the idea of a gull wing door on a sports car.
Yeah.
Like,
I know the people who I know who have those are like, gosh, this is the best thing I've ever bought in my life.
see, and the person who thinks that, I'm going to say, is also a kook.
Yeah.
Like, because
It's possible.
if that's really the best thing, you've got a major malfunction in terms of both style, design. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I'm sticking to this one, the Tesla SUV, because if that is unless it's like you accidentally bought it, but if you're into that car, then you have a major malfunction with both style and design, which means you suck at surfing.
I will give you this. I've never seen somebody pull up to the beach in those and then go dominate.
Yeah, never. Yep.
Never. Now, flying in the face of those things, or certainly in the face of the V-dub that is so
Cherry.
and also so strongly aligned, synonymous with surfing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like you see a V-dub bus, you think surfer automatically. Not only you and I do, everybody in the world who doesn't even surf sees that and they think surfer, right? Yet, again, 95% of those people that you see on the freeway haven't surfed in 5 years. Maybe they used to surf and that's why they bought it and they loved surf culture and that's why they bought it, but they are not surfing, right?
No.
Flip that on its head. On the freeway in Southern California, if you see a Toyota Tacoma, there's a 50% chance that person surfed in the last 5 days.
50% chance he's just getting out of the water.
For sure. Their hair is probably wet.
Yep.
You know
It
what I
is
mean?
so true. The Tacoma is such the ubiquitous surf truck.
Yeah.
Like, and not a Chevy, whatever the Chevy mid-size is, not the Ford Ranger, not like I see a mid-size pickup truck, I don't know what that person does. I see a Toyota Tacoma, especially that certain San Diego, like there's a certain Orange County, San Diego Toyota Tacoma where it is a guarantee almost 50-50 at the very least.
Go to your local beach right now and count the cars in the lot. I'm going to say the most frequent car that you will count is the Toyota Tacoma.
I wonder, this would be a great, if we could figure this out somehow, what car has the average, like, best surfer? I'd say the Toyota Tacoma is way up there for
sure.
Chances are that guy's not going to suck. He's going to be a OC bro who has, like, a wicked little snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the ultimate.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think the Sprinter van would factor into the conversation, but again, it's regional.
Yeah, it's regional, and it's also, it's a whole different thing.
So then you go classic, like what is synonymous with surfers? The V-dub bus, of course, is at the top.
Woody.
The Woody, I think, beats the bus.
Yeah.
The Woody is even more synonymous with surfing, and nobody who owns one surfs.
Also more synonymous than the bus, I think, with surfing, and I regularly see Woodies, the cherried ones, with surfboards on the car that are permanent parts of the car. I mean, I know they're not, they're in a rack and stuff, but it is a surfboard that is colored and shaped and designed to be on that car all the time to identify it as a surf car, but it's never, that board is not used. That person doesn't surf. The surfboard is the look of the car.
It is a hood ornament.
Yep.
A literal hood ornament.
Yep.
And sometimes it's those colored ones. Sometimes it's a balsa board that matches the wood. Maybe it's not balsa, but the wood matches the wood that's on the side of the car.
Exactly.
But
it's not for surfing.
Definitely not. And if 95% of V-dub bus drivers on the freeway don't surf, 100% of Woody drivers don't surf.
I mean, how awesome would it be?
And it's synonymous with surfing solid.
How awesome would it be to see a Woody come rocking into the parking lot, though, that was just beat up, right? It wasn't like all fixed up, but a proper Woody with a shortboard in the back. Surfer gets out, kicks the door open, doesn't care, like goes rips, comes back, treats
Surfer pulls out a album Bombdia.
Yep.
And then just goes and boom, lights it up.
Yeah. How great would that be?
That'd be insane. Yeah. Not going to happen ever.
Never going to see it.
That is as much fantasy as
Kelly Slater not being a dumbass.
Or the latest Marvel movie or something. Like, who knows? Okay, final thought on that call was he referenced stickers on a car. And I think we have discussed this in Barrel or Not years ago. I don't remember what our take was. But I think this can go one of two ways. Like, I've seen full posers that just have every brand of sticker on their car. Conflicting brands even, you know what I mean? Like two different wetsuit brands or something like that. And then I've seen full rippers who have the same kind of program on their cars.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't identify.
I mean, usually I'll say the full ripper often will have like a tiny stone or something, like one tiny surf sticker somewhere on their car. like, or on the back, specific on the back window, you know, whatever.
In
But,
the
like,
corner. It's
in the
usually like in
corner.
a cool location.
Yep.
Like it's the corner of the bumper,
Yep.
let's say.
Yep.
It's like, why would you put it on the corner of the bumper? It's
Yep.
because they're trying to self-identify
They
as a ripper.
identify and they know they're a ripper, and this is what rippers do.
But it's interesting. It's an interesting thought of like, I have so much allegiance to this brand that I am going to make my car a billboard for that brand.
Yes. I'm going to identify,
It's hardcore.
I'm going to pay
Totally.
to identify as that brand. I'm going to pay to give this brand advertising.
I mean, maybe if that person was tight with Wolcott
Yeah.
and Eckert, back in the day, maybe that makes sense.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it was, I think, for a lot of my youth, that specifically with Volcom, like you had to be kind of in the know for a long period of time.
Yeah.
But at this point,
I mean, but man, it still does identify. Like if I see a tidy 2-year-old Toyota Tacoma 4-wheel drive truck in a parking lot with a tiny stone sticker in the window, I would bet the house that guy like surfs better than 75% of the people in the water.
yeah, it's a good bet. But could also be a kook. That's the other thing, is there are stickered vehicles with lots of kooks.
There are,
That's
but
a hard one. It's a hard one to bet the house on.
I'd bet it though for the one sticker. I'm not
Okay,
saying
okay.
all stickered.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Well, hey, thanks for the call. This segment, of course, tools to live by. We're going to try to provide you with some valuable information for how to navigate the world.
I think you got a lot today.
I think so too. So it's brought to you by the ultimate tool that you can own, VaerWatches.com, VAER watches.com, promo code SURF15. There's one for the camera
Yep.
right there. Boom.
Pretty.
Enjoy. Follow them on Instagram. If nothing else, click follow so then you can kind of see what they're up to. And eventually, when you need a watch purchase,
You'll
click
click
on it.
through.
Yeah, you will. Let's do, how are you on time? You got to
Great.
get out of here? Okay. True grit or clickbait crap. Chilean surfer callously sacrificed by World Surf League describes devastating pain of unilateral Yankee imperialism! !
It is true, David Lee Scales.
What
And
is the story?
again, to the sheer and utter hypocrisy that comes to us from Santa Monica, from the World Surf League offices, where Eric Logan, chief of executives, and Jesse Miley Dyer, chief of sport, do their business. So I love non-American, I will say, or non-English surf media, right? Like Peru, all that you don't often think about it, but they do. They like France, Brazil, there's like robust surf medias in other languages. That is awesome. And so this one in particular stumbled upon that this Chilean surfer, like World Surf League, completely arbitrarily cut the qualifying number, right? So regions get different numbers that qualify. It was 8 for the World Surf League South America region. Day before the biggest event in that region, where you can get the most points and qualify for tour, they said, we're cutting that number from 8 to 7 because we are giving the injury wild card to the year to Thomas Hurdy. And even though he wasn't hurt, right? He was surfing.
Tomas Hermes?
I think it was Hurdy.
Mateus Hurdy.
Mateus Hurdy.
Yep.
We're giving it to Mateus Hurdy. Even though he'd been surfing all year, whatever. We're not going to take that wild card injury out of the North America or out of the World Surf League. World Surf League has, ones that they can gift to, for example, if your dad surfed in the 80s wild cards. So they didn't do that. They cut one from South America, gave them now 7 slots. And South America, lest us not forget, includes Brazil. So it's not like it's this region with...
That's Mateus Hurdy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not this region with, not that many surfers. So ripped it away without saying against their own rule book. And so cut this poor Chilean guy who now I think there's backroom, because it was so egregious that I hope that the World Surf League will make it right. But again, this arbitrary, they'll be out front all day talking about the product of surfing, how they're making it better for the surfers, about this, that, and the other thing, while at the very same time, just not thinking about it. I'm sure that wasn't malicious.
No.
But callously.
But they just think nobody's going to call them out on it.
yeah, and
Like,
who cares? Who cares if this Chilean guy doesn't make tour?
Exactly. We need this to happen. And so we're going to now make a new rule to allow for us to get the guy that we want
Yes.
to the place that we want because it's more visibility and all
Yes.
that sort of thing. Who cares if somebody gets cut on the back end?
Yeah. Well,
And then-
somebody cares.
Exactly.
Like, and this guy's been, yeah. So this Peruvian surf media did a great long interview with him. How does this feel, right? This was the 8th surfer. He would have been there. He was supposed to be there. He had planned his entire year or few years. He's been chasing this, right? So it's like a lifetime.
Playing by their rules.
Playing by their rules
to meet their criteria.
that had been stated
And
before
does it.
and does it and makes it. And sorry, nope.
Change the rules.
We decided to change them on you.
We need somebody else to be in that spot.
Yep. It's infuriating, to be
Totally
honest.
is.
Like I totally understand, like, and what, it's one thing to say, oh, it's just surfing and who cares? And, but there are people who are chasing this thing, especially in different regions, right?
Yeah.
Like if an American surfer got cut arbitrarily, I would say that totally sucks equally, right? I mean, I suppose it equally sucks. If the World Surf League is holding up this thing as, hey, what? We're benefiting everybody. And then arbitrarily making it very difficult for people. That's not cool, man.
It's insane.
Yep.
Kind of had an epiphany right there when you were talking. What is Eric Logan's title?
He's CEO,
Which stands for?
Chief Executive Officer,
And what is Jesse's title?
Chief of Sport. So
Are we allowed to use the word chief anymore?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's why I regularly put. I call him the Chief of Executives, right, and her the Chief of Sport, which is what she is. But yeah, I don't know.
Is it a reference to
Native American?
Native American culture?
I don't know that it is, to be honest. I'll look in here as an applied linguist. I don't know if it's like from Arabic, like Sharif or something.
It has to be. There's no way that we started using that term after Native American culture.
No, I think chief has meant boss or head honcho or whatever in multiple contexts. I don't think
And then we applied it to Native American
Native
culture.
Americans. Yeah.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
applied their boss as a chief.
Got it. Well, in other chief news, quote, World Surf League chief Eric Logan likely ultra peeved at arch nemesis Taylor Swift launches mega stadium tour. Quote, I'm watching you violate what you allegedly stand for. You're the real bully, exclamation point. End quote. I don't even know what that title means.
Do you not recall, sometimes with Beach Grit, it's important for us all to traipse down memory lane. And the memory lane we needed to traipse down, so it is very true. Taylor Swift, well-loved, much-loved singer-songwriter, has launched her mega tour. And by all accounts, it is incredible. People who go on and on and on. I think she performs, it's called her, I think, Eras Tour. So she sings through her entire catalog, all her eras. It's not just one.
She's 28.
Yeah, she's 28. She's got like 7 eras. But apparently the show is like almost 4 hours and multiple costume changes and just a real banger, right? Like a high energy banger. Victory for her. But let us go back to the day and the time, 2 years ago, I think it was, did we talk about this last show?
No.
That Eric Logan thought it was a good idea to bully a then 23-year-old girl on social media. Do you remember that?
I don't remember
You
it.
don't remember this?
Dude, I don't remember anything.
This is epic. Okay.
Nick Bravante's call is a reminder of me. I'm like, wow, he remembers so much more than I do about our own show.
That's true. But let me remind you about this
Yes,
scene
I'm
because this
dying
is
to
a
know.
perfect. So, a couple years ago, a man by the name of Scooter Braun,
Yeah, that's right.
who was a music manager. I think he was Justin Bieber's manager, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
He bought Taylor Swift's catalog.
Yep.
I don't know who he bought it from, but he bought her entire catalog, right? Taylor Swift either didn't like Scooter Braun, or I think she didn't like Scooter Braun specifically, and did not like that he owned her music catalog, right?
And would be earning profits off of
Yeah,
it.
would be earning profits off everything,
Yeah.
like off anything that makes. So she said something about, I can't remember, it was a tweet or whatever. Seemed fairly innocuous, and of course she has her Swifties who are notoriously will pile on somebody, right? If they feel that Taylor Swift has been done wrong, that person better watch out for Taylor Swift's followers. So Taylor Swift said something negative about Scooter Braun, about the situation, about how he owns her music rights, something rather else. Young 20-year-old girl blonde, petite girl. Eric Logan thought that was the right time as Scooter Braun's friend, apparently, to pile on to Taylor Swift and call her a bully. That quote is a direct one from Eric Logan of, read the end quote again.
I'm watching you violate what you allegedly stand for. You're the real bully.
So
That was Eric Logan's quote?
that was Eric Logan's quote directed at Taylor Swift.
Where did he write that?
He wrote it on Instagram or Twitter or somewhere. It was his public
But
statement.
was it on her post and then he commented on her post?
It was either there or he tweeted it out himself or
Okay.
something. It was a standalone, but this was Eric Logan's, "You're a bully, Taylor Swift." I don't know how many times in the history of the world or how many places the correct call was for an adult male to call a young 20-year-old female a bully
Wow.
and pile on her.
Do
So
we have screenshots of that?
oh yeah.
That is insane.
So, I mean, the full quote. So I had to, just as Taylor Swift. So I'll say this is a little clickbait crap.
It
but
is.
just so people remember the time that Eric Logan thought it was appropriate to call Taylor Swift a bully. I think we need to,
This deserves a lot of discussion.
I mean, and it deserves almost
just-
its own holiday. Like every
does.
year we should get together and talk about the time that Eric Logan thought that was a good idea.
I mean, it doesn't deserve a lot of discussion, but it deserves everybody to be aware of is what it is.
All the time.
We don't need to discuss it at length. We just all need to remember she was 23 and Eric, talk about being on the wrong side of history, aligning with Scooter Braun over Taylor Swift.
Over Taylor Swift and
And if you do it very quietly. Shut up about it.
Scooter Braun, if you
Go to Scooter and be
say,
like,
"Hey,
pat him on the
bro."
back, be like, dude, I'm sorry you're on the receiving end of the Swifties.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to defend you publicly.
Heck no, not from, and if it would have been, anybody else that wasn't a young woman, have at
If it was
right?
Bieber and Scooter, then that'd be fine.
I mean, it's still weird that you're going after a younger boy. Like it's not, it's still,
Bieber can handle it.
Bieber can
And
handle
Taylor
it,
can too, but
but it's like still, like if it was an older man
Yeah.
who was like beating up on your buddy, still social media is not the place to defend or whatever. But yeah, the fact that that's the thought that was in Eric's head is that
quote, I'm watching you violate what you allegedly stand for. You're the real bully.
Taylor Swift,
Amazing.
young woman.
Amazing.
Yeah. Eric Logan.
Amazing.
It's Eric Logan Day. Yeah. So it was worth it. It was worth it just to bring that up again.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad. Clickbait, but worthy.
Yeah.
Sometimes clickbait is better.
That's what I'm saying.
Speaking of which, how are those Vanderpump Rules articles performing for Beach Grit?
The first one did great.
Okay.
The first one did great. Tying Jerry Lopez into the love affair. Here's the thing with that one, right? I feel now, obviously, you know how much shame I feel every day. Very little, if any. This Vanderpump Rules one, for those who don't know, I put a story on Beach Grit about the Vanderpump Rules scandal ripping the nation apart.
Scandival.
Scandival. The reason I did this is because this Scandival, this story has dominated my newsfeed for nigh on a month, I want to
Yeah.
say, right? I've read the headlines. Every time I look at any news, I will catch 2 or 3 Scandival headlines. I had no idea. So at the beginning, I had no idea what Vanderpump Rules was. I knew it was a show, but I didn't even know if it was a reality show or scripted television. I didn't know any of the people involved. I didn't know what network was on. I didn't know where it was set. I knew nothing about this. This thing was dominating my world that I knew nothing about. Guess what I did, David Lee Scales?
Watched the whole season.
Nope. I thought I would do surf fans a solid by watching none of it, not wasting their time, but catching them up quickly on what the Scandival was, who the people are involved with, who are the people involved, why it's in every, because I'm assuming it's in everybody's, not just in my face. So I wanted to do surfing a favor of, this is what this is. Now you can know what people are talking about when they're talking about it, or you can know what this thing is about when you see the headline. So there you go. It was my public service.
So
David
how's
Scales.
Jerry Lopez related?
Well, so the two main characters here, we have Tom Sandoval, and I think her name is, Raquel. I was thinking about this, Raquel Levis, I do believe. I was thinking about the name Raquel, and I bet Raquels are responsible for a lot of affairs in history.
I agree, for
If-
sure.
If your name is Raquel, yeah,
It's sultry.
it's a sultry name.
Well, for the record, I do know a little bit about this
Do
because
you watch?
no, but it just through osmosis has found its way to me.
Yes.
Apparently, her name early in the season, or early in the series, a couple seasons back, her name was Rachel.
Oh, she changed it to
She
Raquel.
rebranded herself as Raquel.
Oh, so she was
probably when she started having the affair.
She was waiting to home wreck.
Yeah.
So as for those listeners who want to be caught up real quick, we got Tom Sandoval and Raquel/Rachel Leviss. Tom Sandoval was much loved on the show. Apparently, I think it's been going on for I don't even know 4 seasons, 5. Who knows?
Oh no, dude! Because him and the original chick have been together
Dated
for
10
8 or
years.
9 years.
Yeah, 10
and
years.
they met on the show.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's been going on that long.
forever. The show is a long-standing show, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude, Tom Sandoval dating this girl for a lot of years. Raquel breaks him up. Big drama. But the way that the Tom and Raquel, I do believe, publicly apologized. We didn't mean to hurt people. Mistakes were made. How much do you love the mistakes were made? The passive lack of responsibility of I made a mistake. Just mistakes were made.
Yeah.
So there were mistakes were made kind of Instagrams. But both Tom Sandoval and Raquel would wear lightning bolt necklaces when out in public. And so that was their little, wink and nod to each other. As all surf fans know, it is one Jerry Lopez, Mr. Pipeline, that invented the lightning bolt. And so
Zeus borrowed it from Jerry.
exactly,
Yeah.
Zeus went to Jerry and asked for pass-through rights,
Exactly.
which Jerry, he charged Zeus an arm and a leg, but Zeus got it. Anyway, though, we all know that he invented that logo, so there he is right in the middle of their affair.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. I wonder if he's earning money off of their necklace sales. or purchases.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Um,
At Costco.
It's so funny that we're talking about this at all. I'm fascinated by it from a kind of sociological standpoint, right? Like the fact that this reality show has gotten into the mainstream news headlines, now into surf headlines and all of it and in between. That's what I'm interested in. What boggles my mind is this is a reality show about young, good-looking people sleeping with one another, right? And they ply them with alcohol. They put them in close quarters. And, of course, everybody ends up having sex and has affairs, and that's what the show's about.
Apparently not.
Completely. No.
Do you watch it?
No, but that's what that show is about.
I mean, you
For sure. No, it is.
It's set in a bar, right? Like that's what.
Yes, they all work in a bar
Pump
together.
is a bar,
Yes.
and now there's Tom Toms or whatever. This is what I've learned.
Correct.
Yeah.
But from season 1, it was all about who's
Scandal.
hooking up with
Yeah.
who, right? And so the fact that now 10 years on, a couple of them are still cheating on one another, and that's now this crazy news story, blows my mind. That's what it was all the way through.
Well, here's the thing.
I think that ultimately the thing is people have been with them for 10 years. They've been watching it for 10 years, and they really get duped into a sense of these are sincere relationships. Tom and Ariana have been together for 10 years. They bought a house together.
Yeah.
They're sincerely, these are now our friends. The viewers do not recognize that it's still a reality show that is largely scripted, and all these scenarios are set up and all of this is performative. So they buy into the fact that these are our friends. So when they find out that, these vapid, superficial people who have been living this phony life are actually having an affair, which also happens in the real world, by the way. How dare they?
Yeah.
They've defied our trust in them. There was never trust in the first place.
part of this though, I will disagree with you on I think our reality culture has bred a which came first, chicken or the egg scenario, where these people, the Tom Sandovals and Arianas and Raquels, etc., actually are living the life that the people at home think they're living, and so they are actually together, and then they are having affairs. So this is all real. The thing is, their real life is now reality television,
Correct.
right? So it's flipped. We used to watch reality television because we wanted to see real life. The whole thing now is flipped entirely, where we watch reality television, I suppose, but all we're seeing is reality television life. Like this is, and it's
so meta.
I mean,
You can't even track it.
It is basically back to the Truman Show. Is it the Truman Show?
Yeah, it was the Truman Show,
Was
but
it
it's
called Truman?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that where you have producers.
It's beyond that.
But you have a producer who is eye in the sky, because for sure, Vanderpump Rules, I think, was not doing great ratings wise.
Yeah.
Like it had been kind of a long slide.
Sure.
Now it's anticipated to be, I think the season launches, soon, the new one. And this will all be on there, just like Make or Break.
Well, what's crazier about it is the current season that's airing, there's all these
Hints.
Easter eggs.
Yes.
There's all these hints at their relationship. Like, I guess again, don't ask me how I know all this information, but I do, because I don't watch. But Tom Sandoval dressed as Raquel for a Halloween party that he went to with Ariana. Like, he and Ariana go to the party. He's like, hey, I think it's a good idea to dress like the woman who I'm having an affair with. And then
Also-
took photos with the woman and his wife
Also,
together.
Raquel had like some kind of mood lighting in her room that Tom Sandoval also had in his room that somebody said after seeing the show, it's a dead giveaway. The only time you do that kind of thing is when you're sleeping with the person.
I need to watch now. Now I'm going to go home and
we're in.
watch.
But that's what I'm saying though, is so their ratings are no doubt through the entire roof and will be through the absolute roof. They can maintain the kind of tension for next season because
Yeah.
this affair plays out live.
Sure.
Will play out, well, not live, but will play out live on TV next season, right?
Yeah.
So all to say, Eye in the Sky, who was the producer in Truman Show? It was Ed Harris.
Yeah.
So Ed Harris is up there thinking, perfect, we got it, right?
Of course.
These people down here, though, are like Truman who don't know. Like, unlike Truman, they're not sailing to the wall to find it's fake.
That's what I disagree with.
I think
They do know.
I think
They're playing into it.
I think they're not good enough actors. They are so deluded. They find dumb people.
They went to Hollywood to become an actor, and they know it to a degree, and that's what they bought into. They know the paychecks slow down if the ratings go down.
That's true,
if
but
they
I'm
don't
gonna
do these things.
I'm gonna say they are so self-deluded that they are actually caught up in this drama, knowing also as actors.
That's the
they're-
crux
they're-
of it. That's what's interesting
They're
about it.
method
Is
acting.
that's the crux of it that is so interesting is, do they know or don't they know?
They're not smart enough. They're not smart enough to be manipulating this. They are, I think, on a very silly level. There's some manipulation. They know that this is good, right? They know that this is must-see TV. They're not intelligent beyond that. And so they are actually living this thing. They've sold out so much so. They say, I wanted to be famous so much that I was willing to, this is classic. I will trade my soul in
Yeah.
for this life.
So the other detail that I heard that did make me almost inclined to watch it was Raquel and Ariana's best friend were in New York doing the after show with Andy Cohen, right?
Yes.
And at that exact moment, Ariana was at Tom's concert. I guess he has a band as
He
well.
does. He fronts a cover band called Tom and the Somethings.
So his phone, I guess, fell out of his pocket when he was dancing on stage. Ariana grabbed it off. She's in the front row. She grabs it off the stage like, oh, I don't want Tom to step on his phone. Sees an illicit video from
FaceTime.
Raquel on there and goes, what is this? So she calls to New York to where Raquel is with Ariana's best friend doing the show. It all comes out there. So Ariana's best friend throws the phone into the street and punches Raquel in the face.
Boom.
And apparently there's a restraining order associated with that. Ariana's best friend going to blows with the adulteress. And I was like, whoa, that is actually legit drama.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
doubt the cameras were there for that. Were they there is a great question.
That's the
because
thing, is they better have been.
That's compelling television now at this point.
I'm in.
I know.
Vanderpump Rules.
And so there's legal documents verifying this of kind of what you're saying.
That's what I'm
which
saying.
is
They've sold their soul.
They're-
They traded their
they're
humanity
going to blows over
for
it.
on-screen humanity.
Crazy town.
Yep.
Crazy town.
Make or break. Come on.
It's
I hope
fascinating.
that Eric Logan and Jesse Myler Dyer are watching in order to spruce up.
Make or Break blows. Dude, I tried to watch this season. Episode 1 was excellent because Kelly Slater winning Pipe was excellent. After that, it was like watching paint dry, dude. It's bad.
It's because we lived it and there's no, that's what my worry about it, to be frank with you. I love that they have access, the Make or Break crew, and I love the Make or Break crew. I think they're phenomenal. Nothing against them, nothing against that
Yeah.
production. Everything against World Surf League, professional surfing.
That's the problem.
There's no deeper story
Well-
there. You can dig into these people. They're like going to the gym and working out. There's no deeper story. There's no subplot. There's no, and the WSL again trying to juice it with the midseason cut and
Yeah.
whatnot. But like, and I suppose next season's Make or Break, Kelly below the bubble, but we've already lived it and it's not that interesting. It's only interesting because that's what we have to talk about. If
The people are not interesting.
no,
So the WSL breeds boring,
yeah,
homogenized kind of personalities. And so the episode after Kelly was, I don't know if it was the next one, but Owen Wright. And it's like, dude's boring. No offense. I congratulations on your retirement. Boring as crap. So then it was Jack Robinson and Morgan Siblick. And I'm like, I love Jack Robinson and his surfing. Boring personality.
yeah, don't care.
You know what I mean? And so
care he's
I'm going 2 and 3 episodes in just going, why is this not entertaining anymore?
Because
And they're just not interesting.
well, I mean, that's the thing too. And everybody is boring, vaguely healthy, relationship wise and
Yeah.
stuff. Like Jack seems like he's happily married. Chloe's happily married. John's happily married. Everybody's happily married. Young, beautiful wives. There's no scandal happening.
We need them to sleep with each other's wives and
Exactly.
then punch somebody about it.
I mean, that would make it compelling. That is never, or that's not going to happen in this iteration of pro surfing has gone so sanitized. Thanks again to the WSL.
that it's all related.
It's Oprah Winfrey. It could be on the O channel.
The very few people who have spoken out canceled.
Yeah, done.
And by the way, we talked about that last week was surfers on the CT in Portugal, male surfers, were going to wear women's names on the back of their jersey to celebrate International Women's Day. And we mentioned that a couple of people wanted to wear Bethany Hamilton's jersey and the WSL would not allow them to do it. Well, Peter King and Barton Lynch have a podcast and they just published this 2 days ago and put it on Instagram. BL does a phenomenal job leading up to the problems with this, but they explicitly state that they were there interacting with the athletes. They were there coaching athletes. In fact, they're there filming everything. And a couple of surfers requested Bethany's name, then showed up in Portugal. Not only was Bethany's name not on the back of their jersey, a different woman's name was put on the back of their jersey, assigned without their consultation. So those surfers just show up and they're like, where's Bethany's name? And the WSL said, she doesn't align with our policies. We gave you this name instead.
I mean, it's asinine.
Fact. So thank you, BL and Peter King, for putting that out.
Yes.
My final thought on the Vanderpump Rules thing, which I'm shocked that we've done this much time on it.
Of course, it's the thing that's dominating.
It's kind of interesting for all the reasons we just stated. Still not going to watch, but you mentioned The Truman Show. Have you ever seen Charlie Kaufman's film Schenectady, New York?
No.
I'll send it to you.
Okay,
It's
great.
the best artistic version of what we are talking about.
Great.
And it's the only film, it's his directorial debut. So he wrote it and he directed it.
Okay.
But it's set in Schenectady, New York. But the title is actually Synecdoche, New York, which is a cinematic device that refers to where like the plot is about something much larger, like a larger theme than what they're
the plot is
like. Yeah, it's like this micro story about this larger theme kind of a thing. And so that's exactly what the story is actually about. It's Philip Seymour Hoffman is a playwright who gets this MacArthur Fellowship type thing that allows him to do his life's work in perpetuity, fully funded, just on his own terms. So he sets out to make this play that is about life. And then it ends up being about his life. So it's kind of this autobiographical play. So he hires an actor to play him in the thing. Well, then he hires an understudy to follow that guy around to play him, but the understudy starts following Philip Seymour Hoffman around to really get the juice, And then Philip Seymour Hoffman realizes that he needs to, you end up midway through the film not knowing what is part of the play versus what is his real life.
Classic Kaufman.
Yeah, and his wife is all confused about it. His kid is all confused about it. Then before long, his kid is in the play and his wife is in the play. But then this
is exactly it. This is modern reality television.
It is.
Can't wait to see.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And prophetic from Charlie Kaufman.
Yep. Because this wasn't happening back then.
No.
There
there was indicators that it would be happening.
Yeah, but when did this come out?
He saw it on the wall. Philip Seymour Hoffman was alive, so 10 years ago at least, 12 years ago. Do you got to take that? No. Okay. Did you go back to an old phone? Or is that the new one?
It's the new small one.
Okay, got it.
Hold on real quick, maybe.
Yeah, go.
1 second. Hey, just finishing up here, podcasting. Okay, sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Well, with that, let's go to commercial break, and then we'll be back with Barrel or Not.
Let's do it.
Chaz, commercial break brought to you by athleticgreens.com/surf.
Sorry.
Guess who's on the program? Or guess who is now an Athletic Greens user and promoter?
Lewis Hamilton.
I wish.
Who?
Connor Coffin.
Boom. I mean, it's perfect. I love that Connor Coffin doing all the right things here, I got to say.
Yeah.
Getting off tour,
Boom.
getting healthy. Connor Coffin.
He's gotten healthy in the last 5 or 6 years. It's
And-
crazy how healthy he's gotten.
But I'll say too, following Connor on Instagram, Connor is living his best life. You
Agreed.
thought that, oh man, he made it into the top 5. Next season, gone. Heartbreak Hotel. You kidding me? Then his sponsor drops him. Boom. Rip curl out the door. Weeping in the gutters? Heck no. Connor Coffin's out there fishing, living his best life, drinking athleticgreens.com/surf.
I think, honestly, there will be a new chapter, and I think that it'll include Parker.
Yeah.
Like, as a brother duo, they were doing the Young Wise Tales thing. They were so early to that vlog thing, and it was awesome. And then they parted ways because Connor made the tour, and I think Parker was wayward for a little bit, but he's really figured out his program too. And now that they're both unfettered by other obligations, I really feel like we see them realigning
Yeah.
and spending and maybe re-upping that vlog, you know?
Beautiful. I mean,
But they both rock 6-packs now. Back then they had the Fat Boy Surf Camp. Now they're
Yep.
both rocking 6-packs, surfing better than they've ever surfed before.
we should get Connor and Parker on the show, to be honest. I think we could have a fun conversation with Connor and Parker.
Totally down.
Let's
I think
do it.
they'd be down too. And we
Yeah.
could drink AG1.
Yeah, let's do all together.
I mean, it was
Welcome into the team.
literally this morning. I'm scrolling Instagram and I see Connor mixing up AG1. And I was like, welcome aboard, young man. This is the best chapter of your life coming.
Love it, Connor, and totally worth it. Connor will love it.
I know.
You, listener, will love it.
They already do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Athleticgreens.com/surf. 1 scoop of powder, mix it with 8 ounces of water, drink it daily, find complete health and wellness, optimal performance,
Nirvana.
And you can do it through our portal. It supports us and it supports your whole body vitality. Athleticgreens.com/surf. Chaz, barrel or nah?
Let's get into it.
Coming straight from a listener. Doing your own ding repair. As a kid in the 80s, we all did our own. Only Little Lord Fauntleroy paid someone else. I'm not saying I don't outsource it now from time to time, but shouldn't we all know how to do it? And also, didn't quite finish it. I don't ever quite finish it. I always leave it a little unsanded.
I mean, so it is a barrel for sure to attempt to do your own ding repair. I'm going to say attempt, unless you are a surfboard shaper and or a ding repair professional, you will be doing a very poor job on your ding repair. The times that I've repaired my dings are so bad as to be not even even when I've really tried, right? I get the kit, I read the instructions, I try to remember the order and do it properly and the sanding and
The proper mix of catalyst with the resin.
all that.
I'm eyeballing that. I'm never using a measuring cup.
I mean, I've tried before to do it exactly right. It always ends up an utter disaster. But the effort, I think we should all make an effort to do it once a decade. We should try to repair a ding.
Look, it's the exact same thing as changing your car tire. You need to know how to change a tire on a car and then never do it.
Yeah, but you need to know.
I need to know. I'm calling AAA every time, but there's an off chance that I'm going to be in the mountains and I won't have cell reception, and that's where it'll happen.
Yep.
And I need to be able to do that to save my family from the winter cold.
That is so true. And the only way that you can do that, though, know how to do that, is by doing it every once in a while.
Yeah.
You need to go, even if you're in your driveway, kick off the dust, get your jack out, make sure it's an exactly perfect example. And ding repair too, I think you should know how to do it.
If you have never done a ding repair, go right now and do one.
Kick your surfboard, then
just so you know how to do it.
Yep.
I agree though. Leave it a little unfinished. Like I've never seen.
No, sand it up perfectly down. No.
I run out of strength, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, my hands are not made for sanding.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. It's not my biceps or my shoulder that gets tired. It's my fingers.
Hand cramp.
My fingers are not equipped to really do hardcore sanding like that. And I don't have the actual electric sander in the garage to actually do the heavy lifting. So I'm trying to take it from like, you know, 1/8 of an inch down to flush. There's no chance I'm getting that done.
Who cares?
Yeah. No, I'm just going to sand the rough edges off and then leave a big bubble.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, cool. Ding
Barrel.
repair, barrel. Doing your own ding repair, barrel. Straight from you. Offering parenting advice on Instagram. As you wrote on beachgrit.com, 4 hours ago, surf royalty Chris Hemsworth and his wife were sent to the stocks for putting their son's face in chocolate cake and posting it to social media. Hemsworth said, quote, "Happy 9th birthday to my 2 little men. Only one way to eat cake in this house, and that's to have your mom slam your head in face first. Hey, Mom, I don't really like chocolate cake. I prefer vanilla. Oh, really, son? What about now?"
Boom.
So, comment section lit up on Chris Hemsworth Instagram, excoriating him for pushing his kid's face into chocolate cake.
Yes.
What were they saying? Why is that wrong to do?
They were saying it was violent. They were saying that people get hurt that way. There was real rage, real nanny state rage at, a parent doing something that was remotely funny, I suppose. I don't even know. I mean, the tenor of our time has gotten so ridiculous
It really is.
that I can't believe. Like, I looked at the person who did the first comment about like, wow, that's like violent and not cool or something. And it was, I think she looked like a single, younger girl, like single 20 something, right? Where I should have done the Eric Logan thing and bullied her, but I stayed back. But just thought, what silliness, people. Like, if this is really, and you think your opinion on the violence of faces, of cakes and faces, like, it's just absurd. Like, you have lost such direction in life that you can't even be found anymore. Like, you are
completely,
you are so gone that
completely.
you can't come back.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I read your article and then I didn't know who his wife was.
Yeah.
And so I Googled his wife and everybody's commentary was like, she's Spanish. And that is like tradition in Spain, apparently, and I mean, it is a little bit in America, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't call it a cultural tradition. No. It's just kind of like but they were like, no, this is a cultural thing. So not only is that commenter should mind their own business and they lost their way, they just don't even understand the cultural context.
They're being racist on top of,
exactly.
I mean, they're being culturally elitist.
Right. Which to me is third or fourth on the list. Number one is just, how dare you tell somebody how to parent their kid?
I mean, unless
you
it
know
was
what I mean?
honestly,
like, shut up.
Which I wouldn't say anything anyway, but if it was a photo of Chris Hemsworth punching the teeth out of his son on Instagram.
Or saying, Michael Jackson holding his baby over the railing back in the day.
You can have an opinion still. Like, nobody needs to know your opinion. Like, you don't need to share your opinion, right? Person out there, nobody needs your opinion.
No.
Full stop.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Unless you have a podcast.
Yep. Then everyone needs it.
Or people can opt out and not listen. But for that commenter to equate Michael Jackson dangling his baby off the window is reckless and dangerous to you pushing your kid's face into chocolate cake, soft, pillowy, delicious chocolate cake. Those things are equally offensive to me and dangerous.
Yeah.
You have lost your mind.
You are done. Like, turn in your card.
You officially serve no purpose in society.
Nope. Society
is bloated and you are the fat that needs to be trimmed.
I mean, just go and take a dark retreat and realign your principles.
Completely. Okay, so no barrel. Do not give people parenting advice on Instagram.
Nope.
All right, barrel and awe. Number 3. I did this recently. I was on a plane. Eating outside food on an airplane. So nobody likes plane food, right? But a lot of people are so stressed going through the airport, especially with kids. They don't have time to really plan in advance. I will certainly order food from a restaurant in the airport and bring it onto the plane, but I'll go a step further and even make food at home
and bring it on the plane.
That I pack to bring and eat on the plane because plane food's objectionable. But the problem I've run into is your food stinks or it smells delicious and the people around you either are offended or jealous. So I have found myself in the quandary where it's like, what is okay to bring, or just bring anything? What are your thoughts?
Here's a tough one here. I totally hear you. I hear your pain. I will say there's a couple ways out of this one. If you are going to bring food onto an airplane, don't bring a meal, right? Bring cheese and crackers, hard salamis, maybe I don't know, something like a charcuterie sort of thing. If you're bringing your turkey dinner with mashed potatoes and gravy, etc., onto the plane, you are being offensive, okay? I think. Now, also, the case goes with the taking, because the food from the airport into the plane is going to be twice as stinky, smelly, have twice the odor. Let's not even, because you're right. Sometimes it's objectionable, sometimes it's not. But it does have a big odor. You are filling this tight, small shared space with your big odor, right? Whether it's good or bad. So I don't know who has enough time to order and get food, but is running so fast that they have to get on the plane with their food. The couple times that I've done that, I've regretted it immediately. Not only do you make a mess, you're left with a giant mess that you really got to wait for the cart to come to throw it away and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do everything in your power to eat that, like get on the plane last, whatever, right? Like everybody panicking to get on the plane. That plane is going to sit there for a while and maybe there's not going to be
It's not that I'm
overhead room.
hungry now. It's that I'm going to be hungry in 4 hours and I want to have this in those 4 hours instead of the plane food.
Nope. You plan it. You just stuff your gut, even if you're not hungry then, and you forego later
All right,
because
then.
it's offensive. Unless if you're really worried about being hungry, the way out of that is non-offensive foods, i.e., like I already said, some non-stinky cheeses,
But
salamis, crackers.
You're eliminating sandwiches.
Sandwich is not offensive. Pack your sandwich.
Agreed, but
Yeah.
that's a meal. So
Sure.
maybe it has to be handheld. If you need utensils,
Yes.
don't bring it.
If I'm gonna go one further. If it's hot, disallowed.
You're right. Well, in 4 hours, it's going to become room temperature.
Yeah.
So that eliminates,
So
let's say, curry
if you can eat it
or fish.
exactly. If you can eat it with your hands and it's cold, it's allowed.
Okay. Handheld, no utensils, room temperature. So sandwiches are cool.
Yep.
Hamburger.
No. Hamburger's going to be gross in 4 hours. And why aren't you just eat it? Like, eat it when you get it.
Ribs.
Oh, I saw a guy eating ribs on the plane recently. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Full rack of ribs.
Yep.
I don't need utensils. I can handhold it, but I need to wash my hands. They give you towels sometimes on planes.
At the San Diego International Airport, they have a Phil's Barbecue right next to the gates where you can honestly actually get a full rack of ribs and take it right, piping hot, right onto the plane.
I feel like I've in Texas had brisket in the airport.
I'm going to just say, though, people, if you're craving it and you think, I'm going to be hungry in 4 hours, I'm not hungry now, you just eat it now. Eat it right away.
Yeah. So on this last trip, it was a 5+ hour flight, had time to burn in the airport. So we went to a restaurant, but I specifically ordered a sandwich.
For
It
the
was
plane.
too big. So I'm going to have half of it now. I'll eat the fries now because those don't hold well. And the second half of the sandwich, I'm going to
Same.
eat in 4 hours from now.
What kind of sandwich was it, though?
Turkey.
That's okay. That's
Turkey
okay.
with bacon and stuff.
That's okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. I think we solved it.
Yep.
Sandwiches are basically the way to go. in this
Sandwiches
scenario.
are
And they pack well. You can fit them tight in your little carry-on bag
yep,
and
they don't
stuff.
get typically soggy and things.
No. Okay, but definitely no curry, definitely no fish,
Nope.
definitely no.
Nothing that's going to
Amid.
cause a big warm smell.
Agreed. Okay, cool. Solved.
Done.
And also packs down tightly when you're done with it. That's the other thing, because you're right. Carrying the to-go container that is like that hard plastic
Yep.
that's oversized anyways, and it's like that's a nightmare for everybody.
You're in a bad spot.
Yeah, you're in a bad spot. You're being a bad passenger.
You're just not being considerate.
Correct. Okay, cool. Barrel in certain scenarios.
Insert.
Solved it. Well, hey, dude, great show. Loved
Fantastic.
loved your take on Vanderpump.
I'm glad that we got to spend so much time talking about Vanderpump.
May it be the last time.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll
Maybe
see what
the
happens
last
this
time.
week. We'll
It's
see
a
how
poor-
Jerry Lopez hops in again.
Yeah, I know. I never thought that he would factor into Vanderpump, but you made that happen.
He did.
Yeah, beachgrit.com, surfsplendorpodcast.com. Thank you, athleticgreens.com/surf. Thank you, VayerWatches.com, promo code surf15. We love you all. Matt Parker just entered the building. He's
Handsome as ever.
he's got a fuller beard going today than normally.
He does. His beard.
He's rocking it.
What do you feel about that? When
I
your
like it.
beard length is the exact same as your hair length.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
I mean, it looks good, but Matt Parker will make anything look good, to be honest.
I think he's probably spending a lot of time in the snow this winter, and so the beard is a reflection of that.
He's designing boards right now.
Yeah, he's always up to something. All right, well, thank you, Album Surf, for hosting us. And until next week, we'll let Hannah sign us off. See you guys then.
Bon voyage.